are you? Today I'm going to ask you a really important question. And it's a question that sometimes we don't often think about. But actually, for our sense of well-being, it's a question that we really need to focus on. And that question is, who are you? When you study NLP, one of the things that you begin to notice is that there are different levels of importance of things to us, that mean things to us. So things like behaviour, environment, these things aren't as important to us. You know, you can move us into a different country and that wouldn't necessarily be a problem. But things that are really important to us are things like our beliefs and our value system. You know, things like do we have to be with people that are honest and open, or you know, do our values mean that we have to be secure in life? But the most important thing that we have in life is our identity. Now, this becomes a problem when life happens, because especially for women, and I know that might sound a little bit sexist, but it does affect men, but I think it affects women in a different way. So I speak to a lot of riders that are coming back into riding after a long break. And the thing that stands out is they always say, you know, I used to be this person, I was so carefree, I was really brave, I didn't care, and you know, now I can't even get on my horse without worrying, and sometimes I end up crying. And that's because as women, we have a huge shift in identity throughout our lives. So, you know, we grow up, we go to school, and after school we go to work generally. And then what tends to happen? Well, you know, we have to conform to society. So we get married, or we end up in relationships. And that can be quite tricky, especially if you don't have a sense of who you are. Because in a relationship, you take on a role, you take on a persona. So you take on the fact that you have to be a girlfriend or a wife, or, you know, you have to become a daughter-in-law. But also, you tend to have children. So you take on the persona of becoming a parent, or certainly you take on the persona of becoming a mother. Why is that so tricky? Well, because when you're a mother or when you're a wife, there is this social conformity that we need to do things in a certain way. You know, we take on a role. You know, as a mother, you need to look after your kids. You need to make sure they're growing up well. You need to make sure they're going to school, that they're learning, that they're going to clubs, that, you know, they're having all the experiences. And that's, you know, we have to do that. There is no way that we can't do that. But what I'm saying is, we lose that sense of who we are, because we become so engrossed in becoming the parent, the wife, the daughter-in-law, the daughter, you know, so many hats that we put on in everyday life. So there's no surprise that actually your identity becomes a little bit mushed up through the years. What then happens is the kids grow up, they go to university, they go to college, they have a life of their own, and we're left behind. And I say that in the nicest possible way. But we're left behind with all this time and all this energy that we've put into something else that we now have back for us, and it's great. You know, some of us embrace that. But some of us actually find it difficult. You know, what do we do now? How do we do it? So that's why I asked you the question at the beginning. Who are you? What makes your life so purposeful? What do you love doing? And this isn't, you know, you can't turn around and say things like, well, I love taking my kids to school and I love watching my kids. That's not who you are. And as much as you would like to say, well, I'm a secretary and I work here, that's not who you are either. You is the person that's inside, and it's the person that you want to break out of. It's the person that loves fun, loves horses, likes to be carefree. You You know, describe the person that you are. Describe it with feeling and emotion, because most of us push that emotion far down and we don't want it to come back up. So horse riding and coming back to riding as an adult is easy. Building confidence is easy. But the first rule is you've got to be honest. You've got to be honest with yourself. You've got to be honest with the person that you are. So I ask you the question again. Who are you? What do you want to do? How are you going to do it? Make a plan and discover those things, because then life will become enjoyable.